Let's talk for a second about creationist quote mining. When you teach about evolution on the internet, you're inevitably going to get people who pop up into your comment section and say, look, here's this great scientist, this person who teaches about evolution for a living, this person who's made great discoveries in evolution, this person who writes textbooks about evolution, and they say that evolution makes no sense, that there are no transitional fossils, that we've never observed speciation, that the evolution of XYZ thing couldn't possibly be real. So, look, evolution isn't real. This great scientist says so. And when this happens, here's what you're going to do. Step one is you're going to take that quote and you're going to plug it into Google to try to figure out where it came from. Here's the quote that guy posted: to suppose that the eye, with all of its contrivances, blah, 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 could have been formed by natural selection, it seems, I freely confess, absurd in the highest possible degree. This quote comes from On the Origin of Species, which is Darwin's seminal text about how evolution works. Now, this will lead you to ask a really important question. Does it make sense that an evolutionary biologist would publish a book about evolution and include in that book a whole quote about how evolution doesn't make any sense? Does that really track? Maybe there's something more to this. And that'll lead you to step two. You're going to read the next sentence. Literally just the next thing on the page. So here we go. It seems absurd to the highest possible degree, yet reason tells me, you can pause to read this if you want, but he simply says, if we can see numerous gradations from simple eye to a complex eye in nature, which we can, and if the eye does vary slightly and those variations can be inherited, which they can be, and if each one of those variations is useful to an animal, which they are, read this last sentence with me, then the difficulty of believing that a perfect and complex eye could have been formed by natural selection, though insuperable by our imagination, can hardly be considered real. Now, sometimes you're going to have to read the sentence right before and right after the quote. Like in this one here, he says the fossil record includes no transitional forms, and he's quoting Stephen Jay Gould. And here we have the quote. It's from Gould's book, Hen's Teeth and Horse Toes, and he says, "It is infuriating to be quoted again and again by creationists, whether through design or through stupidity, I do not know, as admitting that the fossil record includes no transitional forms. Transitional forms are generally lacking at the species level, but they are abundant between larger groups." But oftentimes you don't actually have to put in this much work, like when the person just keeps calling you and everyone who disagrees with them trolls. Or when you tell them that all life shares a common ancestor and they ask you for fossil evidence of plants evolving eyes. And at that point, you can pretty much just write them off because it's clear that they don't actually know what evolution even is, and their 40 plus years of research has just been memorizing what other lying creationists say.